Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Today we're going to be traveling back to 2011. Honestly, I sort of was going to relive TLC and try and watch as many of these shows before it snuck up on us, but it's already Friday. And here I am reviewing 2011. On my channel, I only have a review of 2012 up. I came to find out I never even watched 2013. But it doesn't look like I'm having enough time. The real short sort of span between Survivor Series and TLC before they go on their WWE Christmas break isn't that long, so looks like I'm only going to be able to relive this 1 year. I honestly sort of picked 2011, even though, you know, TLC spans back all the way to 2009, was mostly because I've had so many question marks this year, rewatching the 2011 pay-per-views, sort of reliving what happened after CM Punk came back to WWE, and just trying to figure out, you know, what were they doing, and did they have any plan on what they were going? Of course, with the, you know, Money in the Bank, he, you know, sort of spawns to become one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling. Beats John Cena, leaves, comes back for SummerSlam, beats John Cena, gets cashed in against Alberto Del Rio, and they go on from there. Of course, he would re-win the title from Del Rio at Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden, and in this month, he has a ladder match against The Miz and against Alberto Del Rio for the WWE Championship. Sort of, I don't know, everybody really looks at The Miz as he was the champion for a good little while, and he had a good little run, but he never really was that sort of, like, you know, big star that nobody really thinks that. When The Miz was the champion, to me, I thought he was a big deal in WWE. I thought he was sort of that guy that when people would turn on the channel and they see he was holding the title, they would see his size, they see his physique, and they would say, you know, that guy doesn't look like tough, I could beat him. And I thought that was sort of something that it would sort of bring in, you know, a lot of views, because they want to see who's going to finally beat this guy up. He keeps on escaping month after month of the championship, and you just want to make sure you're there when this guy finally loses to rub it in his face. Somehow after the Miz finally lost the title to John Cena in that cage match against John Morrison, his stock started to lose a lot of value, and it's funny, you know, here we are years later, and they've never really even tried to rebuild it back up. Every once in a while, the Miz sort of, you know, gets a win. He just had the Intercontinental title not that long ago, and he sort of was a guy that was sort of bringing some prestige to that. But again, he was the same guy who had it around WrestleMania 29, where he won it, I think, for a night. He won it at WrestleMania during the pre-show and lost it back to Barrett the next night. So, I don't know. With CM Punk, you can definitely, you know, hear a lot of the stuff that he talks about, you know, the 2011 run where basically Triple H came out of retirement to beat him for no apparent reason at all. And they've got something going from there. Of course, this would be his first pay-per-view defense after winning the championship at Survivor Series that led to that big, huge run where he held the title for so long. I guess he held it for over a year because he didn't lose it until the next year's Royal Rumble. But this show, it was a fun one to watch. I watched it over 2 days, and I think I watched it over a week ago. It's still pretty relevant in my mind about everything that happened. I would say go out and check this one out. Although 2011 doesn't really hold the most star power to it when people think of the best years of WWE. It all started with Zack Ryder beating Dolph Ziggler for the United States Championship in the opening match. A very good match. Ryder should have won this match easily, you know, in the ongoing parts of this match, but Vicky Guerrero, who was in the outside, who most people might not even remember, was Dolph Ziggler's manager / lover for a good period of time, put Ziggler's boot up on the roof. I'm sorry, not on the roof, on the rope. The referee saw this, stopped the count, and kicked Vicky Guerrero away from ringside. From there, Zack Ryder was able to get the win over Ziggler finally. It was an awesome moment for everybody who'd been watching his YouTube videos and trying to push this guy to have some sort of a star value in WWE. He'd been held down for so long, been selling t-shirts and posters and wall hangers, and he was the one guy to really get himself over. It was an awesome moment from watching the YouTube videos. They made sure the WWE cameras to get his father's reaction, his friend, the Big O's reaction on the outside, and you just felt really good for him to have this moment of winning the United States Championship. From there, we went to a match of Air Boom going up and defeating Primo and Epico. Nothing really great in this match. Pretty fun to see Air Boom, Evan Bourne, and Kofi Kingston. Although they were kind of a really boring tag team, they had some good matches along the way. Randy Orton and Wade Barrett had a tables match after this. I don't really remember them having that big of a feud. But a pretty cool spot to end this match with Wade Barrett setting Randy Orton up to hit like an elbow off the rope on Randy Orton to put him through the table. Orton woke up at the right time to surprisingly hit Wade Barrett with an RKO in order to get the win. Beth Phoenix ended her feud with Kelly with a squash match for the WWE Divas Championship. Triple H and Kevin Nash had a sledgehammer ladder match. Of course, when I was talking earlier on about all of the CM Punk stuff that sort of derailed CM Punk along the way. Of course, when CM Punk came back, he did beat John Cena in the SummerSlam main event, but then was cashed in on after attacked by Kevin Nash and Alberto Del Rio coming down to pin CM Punk. This sort of was everything to build up this feud here, with Triple H and Kevin Nash being involved in a ladder match. At the top of the ladder was going to be a sledgehammer. Of course, a part of this feud was Kevin Nash coming back saying that Triple H sent him in order to beat CM Punk and make sure that he wasn't going to be the champion. Triple H standing up as the company man, saying that he wasn't going to do that. He wasn't trying to derail Punk. So these guys came to blows with, basically Triple H climbing up the ladder, grabbing the sledgehammer, and at the last minute, Kevin Nash trying to call the truce between each other, throwing up the click symbol. It wasn't enough. Triple H, sort of sledged him right in the face. What looked like it would be the retirement of Kevin Nash, but we'd never see him again. But of course, he gets that Royal Rumble spot every single year, so this match meant nothing at the end of this. Sheamus beat Jack Swagger, a match that was sort of named during the show by Teddy Long, who was dressed up as Santa Claus, and Jack Swagger was calling him the worst Santa of all time. Sheamus came in, put over Teddy, so Teddy just basically said, you guys go out there and have a match. Sheamus beat Swagger, no big deal. Big Show and Mark Henry, this was the chairs match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Big Show defeated Mark Henry. At the end of the match, Mark Henry, who had lost the World Heavyweight Championship, having a short little run with it, he wanted to extract some revenge on the Big Show. So as Big Show is, standing there tall with the championship, Mark Henry, who had finally won the title after never having it throughout his long WWE career, Big Show was sort of being spotted as the guy that hadn't held the title in a long time as well. I believe they were saying it was 10 years since he had the long run or something like that. And basically, as Big Show is standing there, crying, and he's showing off the championship that he finally done it. Mark Henry gets up, and you can see him from behind planning his attack. It's almost like you're focusing on the Big Show, but Mark Henry's right here in the background, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. Mark Henry grabs Big Show, hits him on a DDT right on top of the chair, knocking him out. From there, Daniel Bryan comes running down with the Money in the Bank briefcase, slides in, doesn't even hit an offensive move, just gets the referee to count 1, 2, 3, and now he is the World Heavyweight Champion, who runs right over into his arch nemesis Michael Cole's face with the championship, saying that he's done this for everyone who supported him throughout the years. He's finally the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and he's able to show off that he does belong in WWE. From there, we go to the Cody Rhodes versus Booker T match, which was supposed to happen twice already during the show. Once when Booker T was getting ready to come out and he was talking with Alicia Fox, he was attacked by Cody Rhodes. Then when Booker T was being called out to the ring and his music was being called and he was coming down slapping some hands with the fans, on his way to the ring he was attacked by Cody again, which stopped the match. But finally we're actually going to have this match when Cody Rhodes defeats Booker T. Nothing really big in this match. It's sort of the buffer between the Daniel Bryan cash-in and then finally the main event. In the main event, we saw CM Punk battle against The Miz and Alberto Del Rio. Twice in this match, we have to see CM Punk overcome being stupid enough to being handcuffed. Once to the ladder and once to the actual physical ring itself. As CM Punk is climbing up the ladder to grab the WWE Championship, Ricardo Rodriguez slips in from the outside, handcuffs CM Punk to the ladder. Punk is able to forcefully break the ladder to break himself free. Later on in the match, I think it's actually The Miz who does it. Miz grabs the handcuffs and handcuffs CM Punk again, this time to the actual ring corner. CM Punk has to actually physically take the ring apart as Miz and Del Rio are fighting on the ladder trying to get their way up there. Punk is able to dismantle the ring corner, which actually pops out of the ring and flies halfway across the way. I'd never seen a ring being taken apart, so I didn't know what it would do. But Punk climbs up the ladder, beats both of these guys up. He's able to grab the championship and walks out of there as the champion. This was a good show. Like I said, you should honestly go and find a way to check this out. The rise and fall of CM Punk, I guess you can say. Maybe as we go on, maybe I'll start doing the 2012 shows as Punk holds the championship and talk about what he's doing, because it just seems that this guy should have been a much bigger deal. If you listen to both CM Punk interviews on the Art of Wrestling, it's something that, really just says, well, he doesn't really say it, but, he says it in other ways, and you have to put things together. Is, basically after he re-signed with WWE, he fell out of love with wrestling. He hasn't watched it in so long. He just does it because that's his job. So we'll have to see, we'll have to mark the one exact moment when he just said, fuck this, I made a big mistake coming back. During the CM Punk and UFC talks, he basically said that he wished he would have done this 3 years ago when he would have been 34 instead of 37. And then he'd be in a whole lot better shape to be going into this UFC career. See what happens.